Welcome to Millennial Madness. I'm Kevin Lowers alongside Drew Michaels, bringing you the preeminent podcast of Generation Y.
A podcast designed and prepared to stimulate the innate desire to upgrade the quality of your life.
We're fired up. We're going to be bringing you the most powerful information that can be applied directly to your life, producing measurable results across the board.
Mentally, physically, spiritually, psychologically, we're going to be flipping the script upside down, positively altering the perception of your reality.
I'm ready. Drew's ready. Let's dive in. What up, what up? The long-awaited first episode of Millennial Madness. We are here. I hope you have the notepads ready. I hope your ears are open because, we're launching. We're here, baby.
What's going on, guys? We could not be more excited to finally be getting on this mic and to be talking to whoever might want to tune in and listen to it. We got all these ideas, and we've been bouncing them off each other for so long and conspiring, and we're finally able to put this out and give it to you guys. So here we go. Our first podcast.
Absolutely. We've been busting our ass for this. We've enjoyed it every step of the way, the process. Gotta love the process.
Yep.
It started as just kind of an idea last summer. Me and Drew would sit down, when he was home from school and get into these extremely long conversations about God knows what that were just super entertaining. We both just began to really enjoy them, and we kind of had this idea. One day I was like, hey man, let me pull my Evernote app and press the record button and see what happens.
Yeah, we kind of feel like butterflies now, but we can't forget when we were caterpillars. It's a really strange thing that happened. I'm up at Central right now. I'm finishing my last year up there this fall, but Kevin and I dormed together our freshman year, and then Kevin figured out he was having a little boy after the first semester of freshman year. So he ended up coming back down here, and just to kind of condense the story a little bit, he worked a 9-to-5 job, or what was it, 7 to 2 or whatever.
Yeah, manufacturing drive-through screens that you see at Taco Bell's. That's my shit.
Yeah, hell yeah. But and Kevin, you'd be the first one to say, man, you're miserable doing it, right? You're trying to find your way in the world. You're about to have a little boy. You have no idea what you're doing. You're just trying to make some coin, so you're going to be able to support and buy some diapers and support Caitlin as well.
Yeah, and I'm still a child about to have a child. Nobody ever. And now all of a sudden I'm living on my own. No one tells me I have to pay all these bills or how to pay them or how to navigate.
Well, they don't teach you that shit in school.
No, none of it. And during this period, I was going to school to be a personal trainer as well. I had my son, and like Drew said, I was fucking miserable.
He was, he's my best friend, but he was a little bit hard to be around just because of his negative attitude. And that, I didn't blame him. I probably would have been even worse if I were him. But it was a blessing in disguise for sure, because what's come of it is just a flood of information through podcasts and audiobooks and all sorts of things that Kevin was able to expose himself to while working in the factory, putting on his headphones. And then in turn, I would come home from school, and Kevin is just talking my ass off, and I can barely keep up with him. And, the first couple times I came home, I kind of brushed it off and said, yeah, he's excited about this new book that he's been reading, or, this new podcast that he's been listening to. And then, boom, I finally said, hey, dum-dum, this kid's got some fucking awesome information, and he's your best friend. You're in school fucking around drinking a fifth every weekend, and this kid's reading fucking books, doing what you should be doing. So, through that process, I was able to kind of listen to Kevin, and like I said, we bounced some ideas off of each other, and we've been friends for a long time, and we're just kind of getting into the world. I'm about to graduate, Kevin's off into the world by himself, and we're just excited to get this shit out there, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I honestly, like Drew was saying, I kind of started to get exposed to this information, all these different podcasts, Joe Rogan Experience, Tim Ferriss podcast, Lewis Howes School of Greatness, Aubrey Marcus, and then a lot of different books, like obviously your Think and Grow Rich, whatever else it may be, tons of different books on developing yourself, to say the least. I mean, that's what the majority of them were, because I clearly was not happy with myself or my situation, and the first step is really digging deeper about why you're not happy, and then you kind of start to understand that it all starts with you and your emotions, controlling your emotions, understanding that you can kind of dictate the way you go about a scenario. And from there, I started getting deeper and deeper, and I almost immediately started seeing results in my life when I started applying this information. Right. I mean, immediately. And that was why when you guys came home, I was fucking fired up, dude. Like, I'd been listening to this podcast for a couple months, and like, I had started going to school for training, was loving school, was excited to get out, you know, and then fast forward 6 months, I got a job training. Fast forward 6 months from there, like, I'm training almost full time, like, tripling my income. My son's like 2.5, you know.
And what do you who do you give credit to? You know, it's this information that you're.
It's just information, man. It's people that are way fucking smarter than me. People that have already experienced all the adversity that I'm going to run into, and they're on a fucking recorder like we are right now, telling you exactly what to do to not run into that same situation.
Yeah.
So to not take that would make me the most ignorant, most arrogant, stupidest human being ever. Like, if fucking Warren Buffett's on an interview explaining how he made billions of dollars and how he remained a good family man, and then he comes in and and the interviewer goes, you know, if you could give one or two pieces of advice to your 21-year-old self, you know, Warren Buffett's what, like fucking 90, you know, and he's lived 93 years on this planet. I'm 22. That dude has seen some shit. That dude is fucked up so many times, and he's gonna sit here and tell me what he would have done if he was 21.
Yeah, he's gonna lay out, here's life
like,
for dummies.
Yeah, let me just fucking grab my notepad and write what the fuck Warren Buffett would have done when he was 21, and let me do that.
Yeah, well, dude, another thing that I think helped you a lot was you kind of accidentally stumbled upon like the super important knowledge that it all starts with you, right? So you want to develop this empathy for humans and for the world, right? You want to be as empathetical and as thoughtful and nice as you can, putting out the most positive energy, and I think you kind of accidentally stumbled on it. So who do you start with when you start to do that, when you start to say, hey, I want to put out the most positive energy towards everyone? Who do you start with? You start with the person closest to you. Who's that? That's you, man. That's you. You start with yourself, and you sit down, you assert yourself, and I think... And I was just listening to the 666 podcast with Aubrey Marcus, or I'm sorry, not Aubrey Marcus, yeah, Duncan Trussell and Joe Rogan, and they brought up something so interesting, is the fact that so many people walk around every single day hanging their heads with some guilt. They're too fat, they're too skinny, they didn't treat their parents right, they're not as far in their career as they could be.
They're living in the past.
They're living in the past, and you know, it's all like Duncan Trussell says, it's like wiping the dog shit off your shoe. You know what I mean? You walk around and you got dog shit on your shoe, and you're gonna assume that every fucking place, every surface on the whole world has dog shit on it. And then you look at your fucking shoe and say, oh, hey, stupid, there's fucking dog shit on my shoe. It's me. All I gotta do is wipe this shit off.
And the only person that's gonna wipe it off is yourself. I'm not getting down there. Don't ask me to fucking wipe dog shit off your shoes. You go get a hose yourself and you spray that shit off, you know? And
exactly.
I think that a big part of that also is being honest with yourself, man. Like, like, if you don't like something about yourself, be honest. Don't repress it. Don't avoid it. Don't make excuses for that bad thing that you're doing in your life. You know, if you're constantly being, like, you know, mean towards your girlfriend, and then every time you're like, well, I'm fucking working 40 hours a week and blah, 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 blah. Who fucking cares? Like, that doesn't give you justification to be a dick.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like, you're there because you put yourself there. Mm-hmm. That's it. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, and guess what, man? There is light at the end of the tunnel. Guess what, moron? You can change that. You're being a dick to your girlfriend? Stop being a fucking dick to your girlfriend. See how much better your life changes. Mm-hmm. You know, that's a really good thing to talk about too. Like, it's a good thing to practice. Duncan Trussell talks a lot about this. Like, the next time someone does a wrong, like, to you, you know, to where you can prove tenfold why they were wrong, and this fucking shit that you did to me is so shitty, like, and here's why. You know what I mean? If you just kind of play with the idea of letting them win.
Stop trying to win. Just stop trying to win all the time.
Surrender.
Yeah. Stop always trying to fucking win. Like, that's such an egotistical way to live your life. You're just like, win. You're like,
yeah.
Fuck, like, I might lose this one. I gotta fucking pull something out of my ass and I gotta win.
I think it's a form of the devil, you know?
For sure, absolutely. Yeah. Without a doubt. And it's super destructive. Mm-hmm. And once you understand and
ego, jealousy.
Absolutely. And once you kind of start to understand these things, and this is what I was exposed to through a lot of the books and a lot of the podcasts I listened to, is once you start to understand and become aware that you can instantaneously change this. This is not rocket science. This is not some crazy elaborate equation. Like, just decide that you're gonna be nicer, mm-hmm. and constantly reassure yourself through the day that you're gonna be nice, And then when some situation comes up, you're going to be already in that state of mind that's saying, I'm going to be nice today. And then you're going to do better in that situation. And then that's a win.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
win.
You're
And
right.
that builds and it compounds. And then it gets to a point where you're unbreakable. Like, I'm sitting here right now, man, does something really, really, really fucked have to happen for me to even bat an eye? You know what I mean? Like, nothing bothers me.
Right.
Nothing. I don't feel anxieties. I'm never depressed. Like, I love life. Like, I'm by no means, like, I mean, we're sitting in my apartment right now. I'm by no means, like, crazy well off. You know? Like,
yeah, well, you're also a fucking health nut, and you're very aware. You have an insane self-awareness that not a lot of people have nowadays. You eat like a fucking freak. I mean, we're sitting down drinking... What's in this?
We're sitting here drinking a smoothie that I just made in the blend tech that has cucumber, celery, turmeric root, ginger root, beets, blueberries, MCT oil, some green power blend,
Yep.
a lemon, some lemon juice from a lemon, some hemp seeds.
Yeah, whatever. It looks like puke, but you drink it and you're gonna feel like you
A
shot
little bit of
up
Alpha
into
Brain, shout out on it.
Yeah, shout out to Anna, but you're gonna fucking feel like you shot into space. But it all comes back to that self-awareness, right?
Yeah.
Self-awareness is so important. You know, be aware of what you're doing and your surroundings, and it's not a fucking magical checklist. There's no magical formula to be happy. Do the shit that you know you're supposed to do.
Exactly, that's all there is to
Be
it.
kind to your body.
Yeah.
You know, be nice to people. Be as nice to people as you can without getting yourself walked all over.
Yeah, and you'll start to see in real time, like I had said earlier, like I watched my life change before my eyes through a couple of shifts. So the first book I ever read was by Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins is like the guy that like revolutionized the life coach. Like if you want to fucking, he's so intense.
Mm-hmm.
But like he wrote a book called Awakening the Giant Within, and it's a pretty dense book. I mean, I'm so grateful I pushed through it. But when you kind of first start reading a lot of that self-development book, it's not like you're reading a thriller. Like
Yeah.
a lot of it's kind of like dull. A lot of it's things you just kind of need to come to terms with. And you could read that book, and if you're not willing to change yourself while you're reading it, you're not going to get anything out of it, and it's going to be a waste of your time.
You have to want it.
Exactly, and I happened to be in this pivotal point in my life where I just knew I needed to change things. You know, like it was like my relationship was struggling because I was unhappy with myself, and it was being pushed onto my family. It was being pushed on everyone around me. Like you said, I was a dick. I was not enjoyable to be around, and I can attest to that as well. In this book, Awaken the Giant Within, and there's this part of the book where he just talks about forgot what the name of it was specifically, but it was just the idea that like you are always in control of your emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Like you are operating this machine, whether you think you are or not, whether you got exposed to bad circumstances or not, like you always are at the deep-rooted operation of the machine.
Mm-hmm.
And he always just talks about like you can change your mood in an instant. You know, let's say like you find out that you just lost your job. I mean, you can sulk and go into that depressed state for weeks, months, and just
Years.
and no one will want years. No one will want to be around you, or you can just decide in that moment. Like, I'm not, fuck, man, it's just a job. Like, what is this anyway? I mean, if you want to get a little philosophical and take it deeper, like, it's a job. We live in a monetary system. It's only been the last couple, like, 100 years since this whole monetary system's even existed, and humans have been around for millions of years.
Right, yeah, there's that story.
Imagine telling a fucking caveman that he just lost his job. Like, you know what I mean? Like, his job is to wake up and find something to eat and so he could procreate, not get eaten by lions.
Right, yeah, there's that story, that guy who had this booming business. I forgot who it was. Someone told me, but, you know, it's one of those I heard things, but this guy, you know, had this business, and there was something that happened in the factory, and his whole fucking business before him flashed up into flames. I mean, this guy's outside, and, you know, he's very self-aware. He's very on top of his fucking shit, you know what I mean? He sees this business go in flames, fucking people pouring out or whatever. He calls his wife and says, "Babe, you gotta get up here. This is the most beautiful fire I've ever seen."
Just got chills.
And he starts a new business from the ground up that's, you know, 3 times more successful, or whatever the
I
fucking
heard
story
that.
was.
Maybe you told me that, but
I don't know where the hell I heard it from, but even if it's not true, let's pretend that it is,
Yeah.
because that's fucking... I mean, it's a good idea, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But you're right, you can change the way that you react to things to a certain extent.
Yeah.
You know, the idea of you being in a car and someone cuts you off on a highway, there's no fucking way to change that initial just
Fight
initial
or
what
flight.
the fuck? Yeah.
You're dealing with biology at that point, and you're always going to deal with biology.
But what you can change is how you react to that reaction, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's an interesting
you
thing.
You can either ride up on him, start flipping him off, honking your horn, get around him, cut him off.
Which can be fun, but it's not.
I fucking got him. Hey, going back, I win.
Yeah.
I fucking win.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
That weird, just it's such a male quality to it, and you see it in a lot of females as well too.
Mm-hmm.
But like, there's this weird, like, even when you're like a kid, like growing up in like elementary school, it was like, I remember like our popularity was dictated by who was good at soccer, and I happened to be really good at soccer. So I just ran the show, baby, and I put my chest out, and I picked my team, and then we whooped ass every day, and I was the cool kid.
Yeah,
you know,
it's like it's easier to feel good, like, about getting fucking revenge on something. You know what I mean? Like, why does that feel good, man? Have you ever tried just letting shit go? Have you ever tried just saying, like, you know what? I know I'm right, but I'm just going to sit here. Like, I don't even have to do anything.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have to get mad. I don't have to lash out. All I got to do is sit back and love, baby. Yeah. And it's gravy.
Yeah, and if you know deep down that you're right, like, that's all that matters. Like, going out of your way to, like, rip them back down is not like...
It's just like a complete waste of energy.
Absolutely. It's such a complete waste of energy. And once you start living this way... You know, like we're saying, you're aware. You're aware of your emotions. You're aware of your surroundings. You're aware of the people you surround yourself with. You're aware of how you're feeling on a day-to-day basis. You're aware of your body. You're aware of your mind. Like, you start attracting these people that are also in this state of mind, you know?
Yeah.
And you don't really realize, like, I want to say Jim Rohn, he was the founder of Success Magazine. He used a famous quote of, "You are the sum of your 5 closest friends." And this was another one that, like, right through that pivotal time, you know, while I was reading Tony Robbins, I stumbled across that as well. And I started looking around me like, fuck, like, I need to turn, put my goddamn running shoes on, just got a nice pair of Nikes, and I need to just start sprinting away from some of these people.
Definitely.
Because they are like poison. They're like rat poison in my smoothie, and they are just ripping life out of me, just stealing energy.
Yeah, well, you know, you have those people where the energy just kind of pours out and it interacts with each other. You know, you have those friends, you and I, we see each other and we smile because we know we're always going to be cool with each other.
Yeah.
It's always going to be easy. I don't have to sit down on the couch and fake laugh at your stupid fucking jokes and of you making fun of other people, which I'm not into. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're not going to sit around and gossip. And any time, like, I just, like, we have extremely productive encounters. Like, anytime we just
fire each other up, and that's what it's all
anytime I'm
about.
with you, you fucking leave, and I'm like, God damn, like, it's 2 a.m. I gotta get up at 7. I can still work for at least 2 more hours. You know, instead of, like, someone leaving that, like, we just got done talking about how stupid Craig is and how Craig's or how successful Steven's doing and how it's all luck. Yeah. There's no way that Steven just worked hard.
Yeah,
he
must have got that money from his parents. His dad must have done that for him.
And that goes back to that honesty thing we were talking about earlier, not being honest with yourself because you're not willing to put the work in. You're gonna sit here and act like Steven couldn't have done it because you're like you can't come to terms with yourself that you're just being a lazy bitch. You know, and that you're not putting the work in. And maybe Steven fucking was for the last 4 years. And now Steven's a millionaire.
Yeah, and what a beautiful realization. I mean, dude, honestly, if someone's looking at someone else and they're ripping on whatever they're doing, you know, they got a YouTube channel or people are going to listen to this and say, fuck them, they're dumb as fuck, which we are, and, you know, they're going to rip on us. If you're doing that, man, you're probably just making fun of a couple of people or a person who has a good life, who's having a good life. And you're just a douche. You're just a cunt.
Yeah, you're just literally a fucking cunt behind a computer screen that's trying to build himself up by shitting on other people.
Yeah.
And this is the first time ever you can do that. I mean, like, even on, like, some of these social media platforms, like a Twitter and, like, an Instagram, like, you don't even have to disclose who you are. And then the creepy thing is about, like, Instagram, and I heard Joe Rogan talking to us about this the other day, and I didn't really ever think about it, is that... Excuse me, I have to burp. All right, we're good. The creepy thing about Instagram is you can lock your profile so you can't be seen. So you can go shit all over fucking open profiles, and then when someone comes back to say, like, oh, if this guy's gonna fucking shit on me, let me just see, like, how great his life is.
Yeah,
if
there's millions of those gremlins.
And then it just says, like, users private. What a cunt! Like, you are gonna sit here and shit on me and then make your account private? Like, what? I just want to meet you and I wanted to see how nice your mom's basement is and how disappointing your life is.
People, for some reason find a joy. Why do people find a joy in that? Why do people find a joy in sitting behind a computer screen and putting others down? Is it, is it because they're dumb? Is it because it's to make them feel better? Is it,
I think it's a little bit of both. I think they're trying to make them themselves feel better because they're dumb and unaware and they never did anything with their life, or they just accepted failure and all these different things that as we go deeper down the rabbit hole, we're starting to learn with all the information out there that, like, that's not the case, man.
Which is also a sad thing, because kind of going back to what we were talking about is be honest with yourself, man. Sit down with yourself. Realize that the shit you've done, like, what the fuck did you expect yourself to do? You are in this dimension which is constantly destroying you and contradicting everything at the same time.
Testing you, just a test after
you're
test.
going to make mistakes, man. You're not going to be perfect, So sit down with yourself and be honest with yourself and assert those things. And once you do that, man, once you learn to love yourself, then that energy, that empathy will just pour out. And what an amazing thing when you meet someone and you just kind of you get that vibe, whatever that thing is, that in the air feeling.
And there's usually it's a visual. Usually that person's smiling. They talk a little more upbeat. They get excited. They're happy to see people. They're excited to make new acquaintances. That's versus like that person that's just like tries to avoid everything at all costs. And it's trying to even if you are an introvert, like, that's something that you can work out of. It's like anything. Repetition is the mother of skill. If you have a fear of talking to people, guess what, motherfucker? You need to get out there and talk to people. And guess what? That's going to get easier and it's going to get better. And then once you're good at things, you enjoy them. That's the beauty of life. Like, once you master something, it becomes enjoyable. But think back to anything you're really good at. When you weren't good at it, it was not that enjoyable. It was frustrating. It was stressful. It gave you anxiety. But then you start to dominate it and you own it, and then you get comfortable with it.
Right.
And that's okay, and that's awesome. But if you're not constantly pursuing new things to make you uncomfortable, you're going to remain stagnant and you're not going to grow. I mean, the theory of evolution.
You can see it's across the board. Fitness, you work out. First time going to the gym, everyone's nervous, First time I went in the gym, I looked like an Auschwitz victim. I was like 100 pounds, I was a junior.
I was there with you, man.
I was a junior.
I was training you.
Yeah, I know you were. It was embarrassing, man, but, I got past it, and I said, you know what, this is what I need to do to start up, and the pride will come, and the results will come. And the results are something that build on each other, and it's not just with fitness, like I said, it's across the board, man. Your relationship, you just start putting these things into practice, and you watch the results unfold in front of your eyes, and it's a crazy thing.
Absolutely, and you got to be empathetical with yourself. And I think that, going back to how we were talking about, we're very young, we're very stupid in regards to how much wisdom we could possibly have for only being on this earth for 22 years.
We're brilliant in comparison to caveman.
That's very true. Anybody is. Even
Caveman,
the dumbest man on earth is.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, with this podcast, it's not designed towards one specific group, but being so young, I'm kind of expecting that we'll be much more relatable to this younger generation, Generation Y, the millennials.
Yeah.
And with that, if you're going to accept failure at age 20 or 22, if you're going to start, getting depressed because your life's not panning out the way you want it to be, like, you are 22 years old. You are, even if you're 35, 40, like, if you play your cards right with longevity medicine, like, you're probably going to live to 85, 90. You know what I mean? And to stop there and just accept that defeat when you have 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 potential years ahead of you.
Yeah, man.
You can do anything in that time.
Well, it's deceiving because failure is a fucking trickster, man. Failure's greatest delight is sneaking up on you when you're inches away from success, and that's what gets people. There's just so many people that give up after 1 or 2 or 3 times of failing, and you got to be willing to go out there and fail. I mean, you almost got to want to fail because you know that that's growth.
Yeah, Thomas Edison has the famous quote. It's like, oh, you failed on the light bulb 10,000 times. Like, why don't you just give up? And he goes, no. He's like, I found 10,000 ways not to do this.
Yeah.
And then he fucking did it. It's that idea of there's another he's a CEO of
Thomas Edison's a schmuck.
Yeah, right. He did steal a lot of ideas from Tesla, but that's besides the point. That's another conversation.
I don't know anything about that.
But there's another I want to say it's the CEO of, I forgot who it is, but in an interview they asked him, they say, like, how can kids or how can anybody reach success? Like, how can they get there in the fastest way possible? And he goes, fail faster. He's like, if you're failing 3 times a day, fail 6 times a day. Fail 9 times a day. Because then you're learning 9 lessons. You're learning 9 better ways to do something.
Yeah.
You're growing. You're advancing. You're moving forward. You're, from an evolutionary aspect, that's the goal. You know, like this idea that, me and Stephanie, you know, like, she's just changed. Like, we don't, like, get along. Well, of course she fucking changed. She's 3 years older than she was before. If she didn't change, I would be very concerned.
Yeah.
You know, like, that's the point of life, is to grow and adapt and to expose yourself to situations and to learn how to navigate them better. And I have news for anybody that's going to be listening to this that may still be in the bubble of, you know, say, education. They haven't quite gotten off their feet yet and started living on their own. Like, it's a bitch, man. Like, okay, I just saved up enough money to buy my house. I just threw it all into my fucking into the down payment, and I got my house. I'm on cloud 9. I finally made it. Boom, my water heater's out. $6,000. You don't call your landlord saying, hey man, the water heater's out. That's on you, bitch. Or, you know, you buy a new car and you're cruising down the road and your tire blows out, you know.
Yeah.
You got to call AAA and you got to pay. It's just like, it's a never ending, no matter where you get, no matter how high you are, no matter how much money you have, somewhere along the line you're going to get shit on. And if you are self-destructive and you can't roll with the punches, you're going to lose it.
There's not one person in the world that doesn't deal with those types of
Nobody,
things, man. There's
nobody.
not one person
Everybody
in the
has
world
their problems
that doesn't deal with human problems like that.
Yeah.
I mean, not one. So the trick is, there is no trick.
No.
Figure out how to put forward the most positive energy. You know what I mean? And that, I learned that at a young age, I think. And I've always been, you know, I've always kind of had like an inherent empathy for other people, I guess you could say. I remember just, you know, feeling sorry for, like, my dad would tell me a joke, right? My dad would tell me like a fucking joke, and he'd deliver the punchline. I go, I feel bad for that kid. My dad's like, what? You're such a pussy. Like, what are you talking about? It's a joke. It's hilarious, you know. But it helped me, you know, because I realized that that's the way of life, you know, and to just treat other people the way that you want to be treated. It's a golden rule, and there's a reason for it. And I plagiarized that from Joe Rogan.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's true.
Well,
it's a great point.
That's just the golden rule of, that's like, you learn that in like kindergarten.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
like, that's just something
but you don't think about it like that in kindergarten.
No, you don't think about anything in kindergarten. Just play blocks. Yeah.
Well, no,
little Timmy comes and steals your dinosaur, and you feel like shit. But that's a lesson. That's a fucking lesson. So is losing in a sport.
Well, I used to watch a lot of CSI when I was in kindergarten, Forensic Files.
I was reading a lot of Napoleon Hill in kindergarten trying to enlighten myself.
No, but dude, honestly, because I just dove into Think and Grow Rich for, you know, the first time, and I'm extremely intrigued. Just in like the beginning chapter, they talk about just going back to that, you know, the whole failure thing and learning from your mistakes. There's that guy, Darby, I think his name was, that they recalled, and it was this guy named Darby, and he recalled his uncle who got, you know, caught in the gold rush. He had gold fever, so he moved and he went to go mine for this gold. He struck gold, but he needed some machinery to get the rest out. So he went, and they raised all this money. So he got the machinery. He went back. They dug. They got about $1 million or some shit like that.
Which is crazy money back then.
Yeah, whatever.
This is like the 1900s.
They got a good chunk, but nothing compared to what they thought they were going to do with this machinery, you know? So they kept digging, and then they hit. I forgot what these called. They didn't account for something that happens, you know, in the mines or something. And they didn't account for it, and they quit because they dug for a little bit more, and it was just no more gold. They thought they struck out, you know what I mean? So they sold the machinery for like $100, and then they went back home. Well, they sold the machinery to some fucking homeless guy or some you know, some bum or some shit. And he took the machinery, he called an expert up, and the expert came and looked at the mine and said, oh, they didn't account for this. And the guy made like $4 million or some shit. This bum, you know what I mean? And they were 3 feet away.
Yeah.
3 feet, man. They were 3 feet away from the rest of the gold.
That's like that famous meme. There's that famous meme of like the don't give up, where it's like 2 guys, one guy's on top, like digging, like, and he's farther back, and you can see like the diamonds.
I've seen that.
And then there's the other guy that's on the bottom, that's like literally a quarter inch away from them, like walking back with his like pickaxe on his shoulder, like with his head down.
Yeah.
You know, like, you just got to keep plugging, man.
You got to learn.
You know, that's not now. Like, I mean, I'm in a pretty good spot in my life without a doubt, and it's been a lot of hard work and a long time coming.
And we got a long way to go.
Absolutely, and I can confidently say though that if shit did just kind of crumble before me, and I would never let it, just, you know, when you start living a life this way, things just seem to fall into place more and more when you're constantly being nice to people and working very hard all the time and always putting your maximal amount of effort in everything. If I had to go clean toilets, I'd be cleaning those toilets like fucking superhero, man. Like whatever, whatever I'm doing.
Well, given the knowledge that you have now,
exactly,
maybe not back then.
Not then at all, and I didn't back then. But I'm just saying that's why I feel okay with anything now, just because of the mindset. I used to get anxious when I would lose a bunch of clients in my because I'm paid by the hour for training. So like maybe one month all my clients go on vacation and I lose like $800. It used to spiral me into this mild depression. I'd be super anxious. And now I've just kind of come to terms with it. It's like it's gonna be fine. Like it doesn't bother me anymore. It's like cool. I just gotta stop buying a couple things that I don't even need anyway.
It's an insanely complex world that we live in, and we don't understand it at all. I mean, like I said, we're brilliant in comparison to cavemen, but to quantum physics, the idea that you can change things as you look at them, like what the fuck? That's way over my head.
The super particles that are moving and in the same place at the same time and are over here and over there. And I mean, I just don't understand how anything can be moving and still at the same time. So when I hear like someone explain that, I'm just like, fuck, like that just humbles me out right there that I don't know anything.
Yeah, exactly. It grounds you. You know what I mean? And just like this podcast is gonna do. And if there's anything to take away from this first one that we've done, this is really just supposed to be an introduction to Millennial Madness, baby. Let's get into it. We don't know a lot about the world, so let's do the things that we do know, and that is love and
easy things that have the most impact. That's what it is.
Because people have laid them out for us.
Exactly. And I've collected them, and I've kind of figured out what I need, what resources I need to correctly navigate this life and enjoy every moment and live a prosperous life. And I feel super obligated to start passing these forward, and there's no better person for me to do it with than my good buddy Drew. And as we go forward, I just really want you to, if you're driving in your car, plug in your phone, even if you can only listen to 5-10 minutes. These podcasts are going to range anywhere from probably a half hour to maybe an hour and a half sometimes, depending on how much shit we got to talk about or how deep we go down the rabbit hole of certain topics.
We're just getting into it, so we're open to any suggestion, and this is purely for our own enjoyment. I mean, this is why this was started. We're more than pumped to get out this information and see what people think of it. But for the most part, we don't give a fuck because this is for our own enjoyment. This gives us an excuse to sit down and talk about the things that we've been talking about for a few years now.
And if we can help one person, I'm happy. Exactly. If I can help one person, like the way podcasts have helped me, I mean, that's so fulfilling.
It's the ultimate reward.
Absolutely. So again, like I said, just if you don't feel like you can listen to one of these, this is what I've been doing for years. When I drive, I plug it in. I might only get 5 minutes of it, but that 5 minutes could give me one little hidden gem that I could use for the rest of my life. So I really encourage you. Hopefully you made it this far. I mean, we're 32 minutes in. We're about to close it out.
Yeah, it looks like we're running out of time here. Gotta get going, but wherever you are, you're in the car, you're at work, you're on the computer, you're one of our buddies, wherever you are, keep trucking, keep that head up, keep pouring out that love, and you'll see the results.
Absolutely. You can follow us on Instagram at millennial_madness, or you can check out our website at millennialmadnesspodcast.com. Facebook's coming soon as well.
The website's under construction, but we promise that'll be up and going soon. So
for sure,
getting this thing off the ground. Thank you guys so much for
listening. We appreciate the hell out of you, and I hope you're looking forward to what we got coming. We're looking forward to getting it out there, and some big things are coming. So we'll see you guys next time.
See you soon, everyone. Thanks again for tuning in, everyone. Check us out at millennialmadnesspodcast.com, on Instagram at millennial_madness, and on Facebook as well.
To all of our fans, much love. We appreciate you guys more than you know. For anyone tuning in for the first time, welcome to the tribe.